Hello, entertainers. Today I'm here with Jamie Benjamin. For you guys that are watching, you guys are probably getting this video recommended from the show The Search for the Next Pussycat Dolls or The Search for Next Girlylicious. So basically, Jamie was a cast member on the show and she was vying to be a member of the next Pussycat Dolls. So how are you doing today, Jamie?
I'm doing good. Thanks for reaching out and having me.
Yeah, so I reached out to cause as a kid, I was an avid watcher of like this show and like shows like this. So I reached out to everybody that was like on the cast and stuff, and Jamie was one of the only person that replied and was interested in doing that interview with me. So basically, today we're gonna go over what happened during the show, her experience on the show, and what she's up to now, basically, and basically the behind the scenes of stuff that we don't see. Because a lot of the times with these reality shows, they only show you an edit of a certain view of a person. So you don't really know the full backstory on the actual person, how they really are. So today we're going to get to know her and she's going to answer some of you guys' questions. So the show starts off with Mark McGrath introducing that they're looking for a new member of the Pussycat Dolls. And I believe from that time, Carmit of the Pussycat Dolls was leaving. I'm not sure, but I think she was going to leave or something. One of them was going to leave, I think. And they were looking for basically a Pussycat Doll to put in their spot. So just so you can let me know, how did you find out about the search and that they were auditioning?
So, hi.
Hey. Me and Jamie talk outside of this.
I know, right? But one thing I didn't know is how old were you? Like, we never got down to the age when you watched my show.
14, 15, around those age, I think.
I think you were
I was young. I would have to do the math.
Anyway, we'll do that later. It was a long time ago, but it was, I have like, my memories are very skewed from that time, as like, you know, I feel like every human, like, you go through certain memories that you just remember and some you don't. But I remember like being in my apartment at 19 in New York City and watching something about the Pussycat Dolls and saying to my roommates, like, I could, like, that's fun. Like, I could do that. Like, that would be fun. Like, because you get to dance and you get to sing. And growing up as a dancer, mostly trained, and then going into singing more later, like in my teen years, I feel like it was inspiring to collaborate both, you know, both arts that I had in me. But I didn't know how to perfect them at the time. And then I just happened to go to Broadway Dance Center, was taking a class, and one of my best friends in life, probably my first only friend in New York at the time, Lamar, was like, girl, they're auditioning for Pussycat Dolls. Like, there's a flyer. And I was at class and I was like warming up. And he was like, here's the flyer. I'm going to introduce you to my girl who's doing the casting. And I was like, okay. And she was like, hey, do you want to audition? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know, I guess. She's like, well, we're going to watch you in class and see. So I was dancing, and then they were like, yeah, we want you to come tomorrow to the audition. And it was in New York City. It was at, I want to say like a Hilton hotel. It was right on 6th or 7th Avenue in Times Square. And the week before that, my friends were trying to get me to audition for American Idol. And I was like, no.
Who were the judges at the time on American Idol? Was it still Paula, Randy, and like Simon?
We could do them. I think so.
Yeah. Because I think they started switching the judges later on.
But I was like, something in me, and I had friends that were like working on the show, because I was working as a production assistant, just getting my feet wet into the entertainment business behind the scenes, coming from a more performer side of myself. And I was like, I had a dream that I walked into this hotel room. I thought it was the American Idol audition in my dream. Walked into this hotel, sang all this stuff, and it went really well. That's all I remember. And I woke up. Then when I actually went to the audition, it was the same exact dream. So I dreamt of the experience before I even did it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty fun interview that I did like for the press for Pussycat Dolls later down the road. And then I ended up doing it and not liking where I was within the audition process. And I was like, this isn't me. I don't want to be in a house. I don't want to be a catty bitch. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm not a reality show bitch. Like, I think when they handed me the 99-page contract to sign, like after I went in for the singing competition, audition. So they do singing, then dancing.
Right. And from the show, it showed like the blue background, right? And it showed like the very beginning of the show, it showed like, of course, the girls that didn't make the cut. You know how like American Idol, they show like the bad singers and the bad dancers. So you're talking about at this time frame, after that, they gave you the 100-page contract to sign, right?
No. So that
wow.
background that you saw was in Los Angeles. So that was my second audition. So I went in and sang. I sang Billy Joel, New York State of Mind. And that was like the first thing when you walk into New York, and it was like girls lined up in a thing. I still had my number. And I sang New York State of Mind, and they were like, oh, they looked at me. I think Robin wasn't there. It was Michelle from the casting company who does America's Next Top Model.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Eric was there. Maybe Robin was there. Or it was Mikey. I don't have a memory of Robin, but I have a memory of Mikey. And them being like, oh, we love your voice. We really, really love you. Can't wait to, they kept calling me by my number. So they were like, you know, can't wait to see you in the next round. And I was like, cool. So I got excited. Then they handed me the contract to sign. Mm-hmm. So this was like still round one in New York. Like if you moved on, you had to like sign. And I remember being scared because I heard all these girls like stretching, and they were just like, yeah, we got this. And like everybody was confident. And obviously you guys know that was not my thing. And it scared the shit out of me. And I was like, I gotta go. Like, thank you so much for the opportunity. Right. I remember telling Mikey Minden in New York, like, can you tell Michelle, the casting director, thank you so much for the opportunity, but this isn't for me. And I left. I left New York. Like, I just walked out of the audition.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was done. Like, after I sang, and then I heard the cattiness of the potential next round girls, it freaked me.
Do you remember any of the girls that you made the house with, like in that beginning stage? And how did, after that happened, how did you end up going to the final rounds? Did they convince you to come back afterwards? Or
yeah, so I left. I didn't even go to the dancing round in New York. I left. I don't know what happened Asia probably showed up because I went like early in the morning. And it was like an all-day, 2-day thing. So the casting director called me and was like, hey, you're like you and this other girl are our top picks for New York. And I guess it was Asia. And I never met her. And Michelle was like, look, why did you leave? Like, we really, really believe in you. Like, we see something in you, and I don't understand why you left. And I was like, this is why. I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be this girl that is just on television for talking shit about other people and how not talented they are and how much more I am. Because to me, that's just like, it's just ridiculous and petty, and we're wasting time and energy when we could be like learning. So I was like, I don't want to be a part of any of that. And she was like, look, this show is not about that. I understand like your frustrations of reality television, but we believe in you. And I just so happened to be dating somebody in LA at the time.
Yeah.
When they were doing the LA auditions, and I flew out, and they took me to CBS Studios. They were like, can you make it here in like an hour? Because we're wrapping up all of the auditions of all the states. Like I was like the last audition of all the states.
And this is where
in
we
Los
see
Angeles.
everybody, like the 18 girls.
No, this is where you see me on the backdrop.
Oh, okay, this is the backdrop. Okay.
I learned that from
Gotcha.
production. I learned that dance from a production assistant in 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. And they were like, all right, well, you're like, they pretty much like, they were like, well, we don't want to tell you now, but like, you're a big pick for us. So I just went about my business and they called me, told me I was the final 50, booked my plane, flew to Los Angeles. I remember getting off the plane, not being able to speak to any of the girls, even at the airport that we got picked up. And then we were put in quarantine for like a week.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, like
Quarantine,
behind the
I'm
scenes
sorry.
reality shows, when they're not allowed to talk, it's like them, it's called being on ice.
Yeah,
So
we
they
were on.
can't, right. They can't talk to each other because they want everything on camera. They want to get the most footage. If it's cattiness, they want to get that on camera. So that's why they want it to where they're like on ice, where they don't talk to each other. So when you get to where we see the final 18, how grueling was that, like on the, like in real life? Because in on the show it showed that like they just picked, it was very like fast paced. They didn't show like all of those auditions talking about, they didn't show any of that. So like was it like a long process to where it took like weeks or days?
It felt like I was there for like a month before you guys even saw anything.
Oh wow.
Honestly, it was a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
a lot more production. It was a lot more energy. Maybe because I was alone in the hotel room for so long that like that process seems longer to me, and it wasn't. I guess you would have to ask somebody that worked on production, because I think when you're on camera and you're going
Yeah.
through things where everything's on you and you have to try to be, it's a lot more pressure. So your memory, like my time might be, off, but it was, I want to say the 18. I remember 25. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember 18.
Yeah. I rewatched it and I I took notes and stuff. It was 18 and then they knocked it down to 9. So they cut it in half,
Okay, so it was
basically.
50 to 20. No, it was 50
Yeah.
to 25 and then 25 to 18.
Right, to 18, right.
And then the 18, I remember
To
doing,
9.
and then they did,
Right.
they picked like 4 of us to come and sing sololy or
Right.
soloy.
So after the final 18 is picked, they split you guys into 3 groups. One was singing I Don't Need a Man, one was singing Buttons, and then the other was
Oh, it was
singing
after that. Okay, yeah.
Hot Stuff. Right. So you were in the group with Buttons. Did you wish you were in another group with other girls, or did you wish that you had another song choice that would better fit you? Or were you just fine with the group and the song that you were put into?
That was during the sickness. So
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get into that
it was,
Corona.
to me, it was like I mean, if you listen to that song, it's like the easiest one. And plus I had the strongest group. I had my girls. But I Don't Need a Man is my favorite. Like that song, and yeah, Hot Stuff, no. So yeah, I think I got a great one. But I was so
Right.
so
I think you did great. Like out of seeing like everybody in the audition, like I could tell like you were gonna get picked. Even as not just because I'm interviewing, I'm not telling you this just because of that. But even watching the show as little, I was like, yeah, they're probably gonna pick her because you can tell who were experienced and who just wanted to try it out because they wanted to be in the girl group and they just wanted to be like famous or whatever.
that's
So
the
they
thing.
show your
Like, yeah. Like no matter what, and not to talk over you, like no matter what, like even if you're sick or yeah, if you're sick, you're not going to perform as well, but your shine is still going to be there, like your skill.
Right.
So whoever is judging and like looking for that talent, they should be able to pick, who has quality and frequency to hang within that perfection, even
Right.
if they're not on their perfection.
And then the scene afterwards, they show that you guys, they show the piano scene where you guys are singing Buttons. Do you feel like those scenes that they show, those itty bitty scenes, do you feel like they gave you guys enough time for rehearsal? Because of course they showed us like a minimized time of when you guys got to rehearse, but in real time for you, do you think it was enough to give your best performance like on the show?
Was for Buttons?
Singing and dancing?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I figured.
Because I mean, in any reality show, you don't have enough time because you're racing against the clock. Like with how many weeks you have in order to fulfill like a production. So you have to just be able to have the memory to retain the dance and the music, and
Mhm.
have the right stamina. And I don't think that we were given the right schedule. But then again, like, who was back in the day? Like now it's 2021 is so different than everything else as to where we sit as performers, taking care of our bodies, and like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the like machine
Yeah,
that we were is why I don't have the memory of it.
especially with the production, they probably tried to get it done quickly because they probably wanted to fill that missing PCD spot as soon as possible. Because I don't think they knew what was gonna happen with the member that they were either the member that was gonna either leave, like if how quick she was gonna maybe depart the group, like, so they probably tried to do it as quickly as possible. So there was a scene where they show Cicely and then Brittany getting into it about they got into it because um Brittany felt like Cicely should have taken more initiative and practice with them more. And Cicely was saying that she needs her rest because if she doesn't have her rest, she's not going to perform as good. Do you agree with what she was saying, like with the whole not having rest? And did they give you guys enough time to where you guys got enough sleep and like practice time? Like they tried to equalize it or no?
Watching it back as an
Mhm.
adult, I completely agree with Cicely. I'm so glad that there was somebody of that headspace there at that time,
Yeah.
because no, we were completely exhausted. That's why I lost my voice. And I tried to explain that in an interview, I think. I was like, I'm nervous about my voice.
Yeah, I
You know,
remember that.
when you have a raspy voice, you have to rest it. Like, that's a true thing. Like, you have to, some people just have like different voices that can't speak as much or can't. I also just didn't know myself at the time. I didn't know my body. I didn't know who I was. I was completely lost. But she was absolutely right. We were having like, it was like 3 to 4 hours of sleep, I think she said. She was completely right. We were nonstop. We weren't eating right. We weren't drinking enough water. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff she was right. She was right. And I'm glad that she said it and it aired, because it
Yeah.
can show us now that like it's a thing that like we need as humans. You need to take care
Yeah.
of your body.
And the thing is that storyline for her continued on later on the show too, because even later on during the actual judging, she even was saying like I was pushed to like the limit. So then production, of course, makes sure to in the beginning, if you're an avid watcher like me, reality shows they like to foreshadow feuds or foreshadow problems that's going to be shown later on the line. So they foreshadow that Melissa and Asia are direct competition because they have a similar look or whatever. Was that apparent to you, like in real time? Like, did you see that? Not that there was going to be a rivalry, but that they were going to be their biggest competition to each other.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty spot on when I can spot talent. And that's why I always, it was hard for me to resonate with myself that I'm not the talent. I'm more of the talent finder. Um, I saw them as soon as I met them, like, I was like, oh, one of these two is winning. It's like an automatic thing. You just have like a feeling.
Yeah.
So I already knew going into it that I wasn't going to win. And now that's like kind of like a mind F. You know what I mean? So I've had this as a kid, like since I started ballet at 3. So I always knew like, unless I'm the best, I will not make it. And this isn't really my niche. This isn't my thing. Why do people keep pulling me into this thing? Because I know I'm talented, but you hear like when Eric was telling me, what are you so afraid of? And I still to this day do not know what was so scary. And for them, they were just the women that like at a young age had it. They just had it.
Yeah.
And at that time, that was the thing. Melissa, Melissa R, who was like, I was watching our show and I was like crying because I don't know where she is. And I miss her so much. She was a very good friend of mine for years. And I don't know what happened or where she went. I lost touch and it's so sad. But like, she just had the whole package and she still does to me today, looking back at it. You know what I mean? Like, there's different people that will fit in timelines. And for her, she's the type of package that fits for all. And for me, I'm the type of person that was able to look at perspective. And at 19 years old, it's pretty awesome to like look at myself and see that I was actually saying the right shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
not all the time, but to be able to like take myself back and be like, okay, this experience is really for these girls, but I'm meant to be here to support them.
Right.
I think that's why I was there.
That's great. And then the thing is, I feel like they probably saw something in you, and that's why they pushed you on to be on the show. Because for a casting director to call you back and say like, hey, can you like, to get you back to come to like another round of auditions, they had to have believed in you, because most of them won't do that. You'll leave and they'll be like, oh, we got to find somebody else. So that shows you, like, that shows a lot.
Yeah.
And then after the piano session, go ahead.
No, yeah, it was so nice. I was honored. Yeah.
After the piano session, Robin takes you guys to see the Pussycat Dolls live. So how was it seeing them perform live in person back then?
Well, you might know this, but I wasn't actually there.
They edited you to. Okay, this is my next question.
Okay, so yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the whole thing. So we're in the van, we're going.
Right.
I started not feeling well in rehearsal, but I didn't tell anyone.
Right.
And I didn't know the other girl was sick. So they kind of, there were so many of us that like, I might have known she was sick, but I didn't think anything of it. You know what I mean? And then we're in rehearsal and I was like, I don't feel well. Not right. And then Robin's like, we're going to see the thing. And I'm like, you know, pretending to be excited, cameras, everything. Then I'm telling I think I told Ava, who was my roommate, I was like, girl, I don't feel well. Like, this is not, like, we're in the van. I was nauseous. We were in LA traffic. And I was like, something's wrong. And the girls were like, you have to tell a producer. And I was like, I'm going to wait. So we walk into the theater or into the stadium. Snoop Dogg was there. He was opening. And I just remember smelling a bunch of weed and French fries.
Wait, the weed, of course, because Snoop Dogg is there, but French fries.
Covered in weed, but like, do you ever go to like a baseball game or like you know what I mean? Like just fries and cheese. And for some reason that just put me over the edge, like between the weed and the, you know, like in the air and like the fries. And we were in the dressing room, like we were around it. And I was like, oh God, I got to go to the bathroom. And I like started getting sick. And then I was like, I don't want to tell anyone, but I had to, because I was dying. And I told a producer and she was like, you have to say it on camera. I was like, no, I don't. And she was like, no, you do. You have to explain to the viewers why you're leaving. But then again, you think that I saw the Pussycat Dolls. I wasn't there.
Right. You see, the thing
that's what I'm saying. Like, why did I have to say that?
Right. The power of editing, they made it seem, this was going to ask you, that you guys all went to the concert. Anna Lee, which is the girl that got the virus first, she was at the hotel or whatever, and they showed her saying, oh, I'm so mad I don't get to see the Pussycat Dolls and everybody else is getting to see them. And they show that you started to feel sick right after the concert. So this is the power of editing. Like, they'll edit and slice things how they want to. So you weren't even there. See, I'm just finding this out because they made it seem like you were there.
It's funny because like when I was showing my boyfriend, I was like, babe, that was my seat, but like they show like I'm missing. So no, I was gone before the show because I was throwing up profusely. And I don't even know why I said Ralph, because I've never said that in my life. I think I just didn't want to say puke. And I was just sick, to be honest with you. And then the shooter producer who was with me was like, oh, do you mind if I like film you the whole way? I was like, honestly, dude, I don't give a fuck. I'm just really sick. Like, I'm really sick. So do whatever you need to do. At this point, I don't care. So that's what happened. And then you see all the other, that's how fast a virus can, like 2 seconds.
Right.
I mean, they all started, I couldn't believe the footage when I saw it. I didn't know they all started puking when they left.
That probably happened at another time frame, the way that you're saying
It
that you weren't
didn't,
even
because
there.
I started puking when I left the stadium. Then the
Right.
girls started puking as they walked out of the stadium.
So when you were
So that's
puking
how quick.
in the toilet, that means that
The girls were puking at the stadium.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean. Like, by the time that I left the stadium, they saw the Pussycat dolls. As soon as the dolls got off and they left the stadium, they were puking. So that's how quick. Like, I was just getting back to the hotel.
And the thing is, weren't the producers like, how did they react to it? And then did they ever were scared that you guys might get the dolls sick? Because they showed on the show that after the concert, you guys went to see the dolls and then did a whole PCD, and you get what I'm saying? So weren't they a little weary?
That was before.
Okay.
That was before the concert.
Okay. See,
So
they made it seem like it was after.
Yeah, you see me in there, and I leave after. Actually, I left right after that. So that's a really good question. I wonder if they got sick.
Right. Because I just, before doing
Oh my God, that's a really good question.
Right. I thought about it. I'm like, what if they got sick? Like, I know Nicole would have been pissed. And the thing is, did they ever name the virus? Did they ever say, like, the virus you guys have is this? Or was it just like, oh, you guys are just sick?
It was a stomach bug from a crew member. So I was told, and it was able to spread in 24 hours. I don't know. It was the first time I had to take a suppository, which I had never heard of or done before, but we all had to because we couldn't keep anything down.
Explain to viewers, what is that? Because I kind of know, but not really.
You have to stick a pill up your butt.
Oh.
And we were like, what? And the doctor was like, you guys have to do it because you can't keep any, like, that's how bad it was. They never told us, because I 2 years ago had shigellosis, which is one of the worst deadly viruses in the world. And it wasn't anything, it didn't end me up in the hospital like that did, but it was very similar. So nothing can stay in the body. Therefore, anything that goes down here is just going to come up. So you have to go in the other way to try to like settle the tummy. And that pretty much is what saved us, I think.
That's crazy. Did production ever think of stopping, like halting the production of the show and like picking it back up after you guys healed? Like, how were they acting during all of this? Like, were they panicking? Were they scared that the judges or themselves would get sick? Because it seemed like, to me, it was handled so badly. Like, if this show were to happen or film right now, they wouldn't handle it like that, especially with the virus going on. They would like shut it down and then pick up in like 3 weeks. But there, it's like they kept going and like pushed you guys to the limit, which I found was crazy.
Ugh. Okay, so I was rooming with Ava, the beautiful girl with the red, and like she was like a perfect pinup, like she was everything, right? She was a really good friend of mine. She was my roommate, and she and I were so ill. And I remember cameras coming in. They only halted it for a day. 1 day. So by the time I got the virus, Kelsey was like on the end of it. So she kind of I was like a day ahead of her of recovering. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like I almost got it. Maybe it was 2 days. It was like a day or two, but they didn't halt it. They only halted it for a day. I'm very surprised. And then you hear like that one girl, what's her name? Shantae. She was like, oh, well, you know, the other girls are really sick, so maybe this will boost me. And it's like, that's horrible.
Right. I saw that too. And she didn't even make the final 9. I'm like, why would you say that?
Why would you think that you have a better shot now that because everyone's sick? Yes, I get it. Like that's how like life is. But still, I just don't think that that's how it works.
And not even that, Chelsea got sick and she still made it. Like Chelsea was the sickest one.
Because they
At
will
the final
always,
9 audition, Chelsea was on the floor and she still made it.
at the end of the day, they know what they want.
Right.
So sick or not, you should be able to show whatever light is in you at that time for that project, whatever you're doing. And whoever's picking it, picking you, hiring you, whatever the case may be, you know, I think you'll get it no matter what, whether you're like on your deathbed or not. To me, that's how life works. Not just because someone's sick, you can dance better. And then like, it just doesn't work like that to me. It's either it's like you and your shine or not. No matter how sick you are, you could still show it. And Chelsea showed it and she looked like, you know, she was legit dying.
Yeah.
Like she was at my worst on that day.
Right. Because she was on the floor. Like she was saying that they put an IV in her and the IV it rushed so quickly to her bloodstream that it made her like cold. So then after that happens or whatever, you guys are in the final 18 final 18 girls, and then you guys do the performances that you guys were split into. How was it performing like in front of Nicole? Like was it like was it more nerve-wracking than just performing in front of like Mikey and like Robin and stuff like that?
It's weird because I don't remember that much of that moment. I just remember being nervous the whole time, but I remember her there. And I remember singing by myself. I had this whole like solo performance that they never showed. And to me was the most, that's what gave me confidence to move on actually. And they never showed it, which is really sad. I sang Killing Me Softly and I remember murdering it. And it was in front of 50 girls on stage.
Oh, wow.
And
see, like, I wish they showed stuff like that.
I know. And it was like, and I got a standing ovation. Like it was a whole thing. But and that's a memory for me, maybe, you know, that's a memory for me remembering my strength on that stage at that moment, knowing that I could do that alone. And maybe it's because I was never meant to be with a pack. I'm an only child. Like all that stuff to me makes sense now. Like I was never supposed to fit in. So of course my fondest memory that wasn't shown to the world is me alone.
Right.
Which I don't know.
It's at least something you could keep with yourself so that way you could remember it. Yeah. And then after that's
what like created the friendship, I think, between me and the judges.
I think they really liked you. Like I could tell, especially Robin, like she really, really liked you. Like even at the audition showing the critique, she was just like, yeah, Jaime, like I really see something special in her. Like I think she really like the thing is watching the 2 seasons, like the Search for the Next Pussycat and Girl, it's just you can tell when Robin really likes a girl, like she'll make sure that like they get through. And I think she really liked you.
She's really good at reading people. And that's why she's so successful, because she can see like the true art in someone. And that's what I really respected about her. And still to this day, like she's so savvy with knowing what people want to accomplish within themselves. And for women, I think it's like finding that doll within you. And that's why I always liked the dolls. And I liked her whole thing that she created before the band. The whole burlesque feel and, you know, having here in LA, like that shit's dope. Like that shit should be around now, you know?
Yes, I think it should.
It's timeless, and music can be timeless, but there's, you know, watching our show and even with the dolls songs, like there's things that just like sit in pockets of eras, you know, and it's like, oh, that was that time. And you look at like the way that we were edited, that can't be edited that way now.
Right.
But if the dolls and like if Robin still had that show opening, like that little theater that she used to have, it's just timeless. I think she should open it again anyway.
Definitely. They need to do like a reunion type thing. The next episode starts and it shows you guys going into the studio / condo place that you guys were gonna live into. What did you think when like going into it? Like, were you like, this is like nice? They had even like the dance studio with all the dolls, murals there and stuff like that. So what was your thoughts when you saw it, where you're gonna be staying?
Yeah, we were stoked. We had been in like a hotel for, I want to say a few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. So we were excited to get out of there. We walked in and I'll never forget the smell. Is that weird? Just
Weed
smell.
and fries?
No, that was
I'm
when I got sick.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, the house was so nice. I mean, all reality shows, it was like a warehouse turned into a home.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like in downtown LA. It was kind of in the middle of an industrial, gritty area, which I love. Lots of like art around, and it was just dope. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah, it looked really nice, like what was shown on camera. And then she gets you guys all in like the in a group, and then separates you guys again into, I think, 3 groups. One was 1-2 step, another was Ponder Replay, and the other one I think was Crazy in Love. So then you get put into 1-2 step. Did you wish you had another song choice, or were you fine with the group that you were in with the girls and the song choice you were given? Because on the show, from what it showed that you were really close to Mariella from how the editing was shown. But I don't know, in real time, were you closer to another girl, and were you happy with the group that we were put into?
Real time, I was close with Marielle. I was also real time best friends with Asia and Melissa.
S or R?
R.
R.
And Sis. So we were really close. Melissa and I like shared, we had beds, but ours was like always next week. We would stay up together like late, you know. But Mariella, like even looking back, another one between her and Cicely, like the amount of maturity at that age that they had. I'm so lucky that I was surrounded by that type of woman, you know,
Mhm.
just be there to support. And I think that's something that just comes from entertainer background, like having dance training and being around dancers all the time, and or like art, you know, artists. It's just something that's a common language. And I was really close to them, and they held my hand through that whole thing. They really did. Like there's so much that you guys didn't see that they really like, we all like really bonded. There's so much they didn't show about the other girls not being confident, and like me talking to them, or like we were there for Halloween, like having chocolate fights, like throwing them at the camera crew, just like throwing candy. I remember just crawling and just, I don't know, just the little fun things that show me not confident never made it.
Yeah.
Because I am a nuts person. Like all my friends know me to be the loudest and the craziest and the most unpredictable person of the group. So I portrayed my friends were shocked. They were like, you are not this person. Like, you're not shy. And I'm like, but I am though. So that, you know.
It's like a balance. Mm-hmm. So then the story arc starts to show of you having like confidence issues or whatever, and especially with the piano session with Eric, I believe. So how was it dealing with that, like on the show, and what did it teach you about life, especially now, and having confidence in yourself?
When he was saying it's not the note, sweetie, or no, it's not, like what did he say? He said something.
It was like, do you want to go home over a note? Because you were like, get it on.
But I wasn't hitting that I was hitting an off note. So it almost was like my brain and my body and like myself wasn't in the right place to hear it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're a singer, like, or if you're musical, like you'll just get that. But if you've never like sang off key, then it's really disheartening. Like when you can't find it. And I didn't understand why I couldn't find it at the time. Now it's like, if I hit a note, I'm like, oh, and I hear him and he's like, it's not that you lost your voice. You're just not hitting the note. And I couldn't
Right.
hear it. So I'm like, fuck, why wasn't I hearing it then? Like, because I wasn't connected to myself.
Right.
I mean, watching that like back recently, it was an eye opener for me. And I think, one, thank you for bringing this back to my life, because it has made me realize how much I've grown with myself, and I'm still working on a lot of it. And I think I was born with it. So maybe in this lifetime, I need to gain what I know that I have. But I'm a very humble person. I don't like my ego to overshine people, but I think there's times and places for it. And that's why I'm always so humble. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be the girl that's like, I got it. Because we all got it.
Right.
You know?
Because if
And
you got it, you ain't gotta,
yeah, you just got
brag
it.
about
You
it.
got
Right.
Look, we all got it.
Right.
We all got it, but like it's up to us to show that each person has it and to push each other. And that's why this show, I think, I watched like an episode of the next season after us, but that first season shows no matter what you do, like you're usually going to have a bond that's greater than any other casted after you.
Yeah.
Like any other season. You know what I mean?
You guys seem definitely more close knitted and more together than the next season, because the next season the girls are fighting.
You know, like, but I also was not that person. Like, I didn't want to be like that. That's why I left the audition in New York.
Yeah.
That was literally my thing. Like, you want me, you're not getting drama.
Yeah.
So have fun.
And the production, that's like nightmare to their ears.
I was like, here, have fun voting me off like first or second. Like, I knew it already. I was already equipped with that in my brain. It's just like I knew when I was like 10 that I wasn't going to be in New York City Ballet. How did I know that? I don't know. But it's like I do things for a reason. And I definitely think things are like learning experiences. But I have this assurity of myself, which my confidence and my assurity need to like meet. Because I'm like, oh, well, I know I'm not good enough because I already know the problems that I have, because I'm the Simon Cowell of the world. You know what I mean?
To yourself.
Oh, yeah. I could look at myself and be like, oh, well, no, girl, like this note needs to be better. You need to work on this. You need to do this. You need like the way you carry yourself. You need to dance like you're not grounded. Like I can see all that shit, but I don't know how to apply it to myself as a young girl. Mm-hmm. Now, as a 35-year-old woman, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we just need to do.
Right.
I didn't know that then. So it's almost like I had an awakening at a later time in my life where Melissa R., looking at her on the show as a young girl, had it naturally. She was already born with the inkling of knowing how to align her body and her voice and her look, but she was lost and held back by her family. Right. So different. Everybody was going through a different thing. You have Asia with the little girl. You have Anastasia, who's a fierce like woman who's tall, who is probably overcoming that in our industry. Then you have Mariella, who could sing, overcoming that. And like but she had like confidence in the leg, but her in the studio is just stunning. Like I cried watching that. Like
with who? Mariella or Anastasia?
At that age, like she had that at that age.
Yeah. The thing is, they made it seem like Anastasia, she was like some big blob or something. I'm like, she's just tall. So you guys are like shorter and a little smaller, so it's gonna make it seem as if she's like a giant. But they made it on the show as if she was like, she gained 100 pounds on the show.
Let me tell you about that girl's heart, though. Like, lioness.
Yeah,
the heart
she's really pretty.
Were so strong,
and
that's something I'll never take away from this experience. When I said it, I'm about to embark on an experience I'll never forget, or like on a journey.
Yeah.
Right. And it did. It took me on a journey that is not ended yet.
Definitely.
So Yeah.
And on the show, after the piano scene, they show you guys going to the dance rehearsals for the 1-2 step, and then they start showing like the story arc of Britney being too sexy for the Pussycat Dolls, which I think was ridiculous because they have pussy in the name of the band. So I'm just like, how is she being too sexy? But so in the rehearsal, they show Mikey Menden like being hard on her. Do you think he was a little too hard on her about how she was dancing and how she was moving her body? And do you think she was overtly sexy as was portrayed on the show?
I don't think that she was as portrayed on the show. I think Mikey was hard on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Will I say a little too hard? Yes, but what is a little too hard because I came from harder? So
Right.
it's like it's a fine line.
Right.
Like things that he said was not the hardest I've heard
Okay.
from my background, but it's not okay.
Like just from what I
Like
seen, like I
looking
think
back at it, it's just not okay for us. It
yeah,
really scarred a lot of us.
yeah,
So yeah. But you need it. You need it. You need to be told like you're not doing it right. So there's like I'm the biggest believer in like just don't do it. I don't have it in me to tell somebody that they're not enough. Because everybody's enough, but you can't just be like, "Girl, no, like you're just not getting it. It's just not you." Like to say that to somebody is only going to make them do worse.
yeah. And the thing is, I think she got kind of like sick of hearing that, so she just was doing what she was gonna do. In my opinion, I think she should
And
have.
then you're just like this. And
Yeah.
you're spinning and you're on stage and you're just like, I'm just gonna do it, but I don't know where I am. And then you're lost.
I think she should have waited to audition for Girlicious because they're more of like overtly sexy. So I think she would have made it in that group like within a heartbeat because she fit the description like of the band and everything. Like she knew how she wasn't the best singer, but she knew how to dance like a good amount, which they liked on the show.
I mean,
And even the dance rehearsals were they as short as like the piano lessons or
oh, hours. I don't remember eating.
the dance rehearsals? You don't remember?
I don't remember eating. I just remember, I don't remember. I just remember always being in, like, we were just always busy. We were just always rehearsing, always. We were never sleeping. And that's why you see Cicely freaking out.
Okay. See, now
And that's
that
why my
makes
memory,
sense.
because probably we didn't sleep that much. So, you know, my brain doesn't, retain and trauma.
Right. The thing is,
Were you
with
telling
these
me about?
shows,
Yeah, you were telling me like how we like sometimes don't retain information that like we go through
right?
trauma.
With these shows, like if you had like a bad experience, like even like shows like RuPaul's Drag Race, like Love Hip Hop, like a bunch of shows that are reality based. If you're on the show and like let's say you had either a bad experience or some things happened there that you didn't like, a lot of the cast members, you'll hear them on interviews, they don't remember what happened to them back then, or what they'll do is they won't be able to watch like a future season because it gives them like PTSD. So I think that's why some things you don't remember because of that. Just to let the viewers know like
Yeah.
what happens.
And I have to plug my computer in, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
But can I talk to you while I try to do this?
Yeah. And then after you guys are taking after the rehearsals or whatever, Robin takes you guys down to like basically like unwind. So she takes you guys to like a dinner. She takes you guys to like a dinner with Mikey and whatever. You guys are eating. And then next thing you know, girls pop up and they start dancing in like lingerie. What were you thinking when you just first seen that?
Oh, I was excited because I was already living in New York and I was already like dancing at clubs. So that was like home to me, actually. But they played it like I was, she's up, like she's here, but it was just like, oh, I get to go to a club. I'm fine.
Right. And then
so
they
played a little differently.
they show that you were the first to volunteer to do the dancing, like the girls that were shown up first. So what made you want to volunteer first? Was it to basically break, because they were trying to give you the story arc of being unconfident, whatever. So was it to sort of like not play the producers, but show the producers like, hey, like I'm here? Or what was in your mindset with volunteering to go first?
Yeah, I think that was it. Just to be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. I'm so over like this shit. Like people saying that I'm not confident. Like I'm fine.
Right.
But I think a part of me just didn't want to, I didn't know how to be on camera. I didn't know how to show like the Jamie that I am. Because I wasn't grounded yet. So I was like, I think when you watched me, I was still finding out like who I was. Like I was just floating around. I had all
Mm-hmm.
this talent that Robin saw, that was not able to understand that she had all the knowledge of the talent.
Yeah.
So I'm still to this day, like it's like I have so much knowledge in me that I'm focusing on like honing it. And that's what's fun. It's like when you realize that you have all these gifts, it's like, how do you perfect each and every one? But when you have all of them, it's overwhelming.
Right.
And I was just naturally born with them. So my voice and my dancing and my movement, like my speech, just how I like embody myself, you know, I just, I didn't know how to put it all together. And
And then
Melissa
after
R
they
like
show
had
you,
that. So I
go ahead.
still think she just like was a package, that girl.
Who,
Melissa.
Asia?
Melissa R.
Melissa, yeah. A lot of people think that she should have won over Asia. After the dances or whatever, she announces the winner. And I was going to text you this. Watching it, it shows your face like, are you kidding me? I should have won. Do you think you should have won? Or who do you think should have won besides, I think, Asia? Yeah, besides Asia, who do you think? Do you think you should have won or somebody else? Because you were like, they showed your face
I
like, why
wanted
didn't I
to
win?
win.
Right.
I mean, no, I'm not that. I like look at myself, the one thing they showed of me, and I was like, oh, so no. Like looking back at it, I wouldn't have picked me.
It's funny, they panned exactly to you and then you were like, oh, like I guess I did great, but it is what it is. But they make sure to show your reaction first.
Yeah, well, that's editing. Like that's following the storyline,
Yeah.
you know, which there's so much story that wasn't able to be shown. But then you think about how much they shoot us. So we were shot 24 hours. So
Right.
we had night vision cameras, which is very expensive. Not a lot of television shows have that. All the footage that they had, and that's what they showed to me. And then you have to take out the commercial time and follow a story to where you can string along to me, which brought you to me.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I don't hate how they showed me. I think they portrayed me the perfect way that I was at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, it's like I almost thank them for portraying me that way, opposed to a way that, I mean, you could portray anyone anyway.
Yeah.
You just have to
You
click
didn't
the
get too
word.
much of a bad edit. Like they
I'm
gave
also
some
not a
girls
bad
their,
person. I'm not giving
yeah,
you anything to portray
right.
badly, but I'm not saying it's not easy to portray somebody that is saying something completely different to another way. I never spoke ill of anyone. It was not my thing. When I was asked to, I said no.
Right.
I was like, that's not why I'm here. That was the one thing I said to Michelle, I will not do. I'm not here to talk shit on anyone. Can you see my face? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you.
Um,
Even now I can't.
sorry guys. It's like the forest. There we go.
Okay, there we go, there we go. So even like during like the confessionals, did they try to push you guys to like talk crap about like other girls and stuff like that?
Yeah, they would. And I just was never about it.
Yeah.
It's not me. I don't think that talking shit on someone is the way to go. And if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. That's how I was taught. And that's also what probably got me booted off too.
Oh well. And then afterwards,
I don't care. I'd rather be a nice person.
right than a freaking monster on
Who's
TV.
here to do that? I don't need to belittle anybody. They're already getting yelled at by Mikey. What does she need to do? What is somebody that need, like, I'm the same age as them. Like, who am I to say like shit, you know?
Yeah. I think the people that got some of the worst edits were like Melissa S. She got, I think, the worst edit because they made it seem like she was like this fake pretentious person who was trying, like a tryhard. They gave her, I think, the worst edit out of everyone, in my opinion.
I think they did because I remember her friendship and it was strong. But then again, I remember her coming from making the band. So there's experience there, you know, of knowing the game, which is more of the value. I think understanding how to play the game is more, it's more of reality television is a psych game.
Right. Afterwards, they show you guys performing. And then the backstage, you looked so freaking bomb with the hair bump and everything with I'm talking about the 1-2 step performance. Like I watched it back. I'm like, they did that. How was it like getting like ready and stuff before the performance? Like describe that to the viewers.
Yeah, that was amazing. I needed a makeover. Like that was needed. But we sat in the chair for an hour, 2 hours, got our shit done, extensions, all the things. And then they put the wardrobe on us and we only had one rehearsal in 7-inch heels on a brand new slick waxed floor stage.
And those heels looked higher than a mountain, like very high.
I look like Bambi in that performance. When people turn that performance on to like show other people that I was on a show, I cringe. I can't watch it. Like 1-2 step to me was the worst thing. I look like Bambi. I wasn't comfortable in my shoes.
You look cute as fuck, so that's all that matters.
But like it's just like a thing within me. But I remember being like, Mikey, like why am I just putting these shoes on? Like, can we go again? Like, can we rehearse again? And he was like, bitch, the Pussycat dolls do this. You just shut up and do it. And I was like, okay. And he's right. Like I get it. But like I have to compare that stuff to like the ballet stories I was, scarred with of those performers. So if anything in ballet, you could do anything if you've done it in ballet.
Mm-hmm. And then the audiences, was there like, because the thing is, I realized some of the audience that was there for you guys was some of the same audience that was there during Girlicious. Were they paid people that came there every week, or was it random people? Because it looked like the same people.
It's probably paid because since I work in the industry now, it's like usually run by a company. So they'll provide the same audience and then give them snacks back there, and they pay them like $200 a day.
Mm-hmm. And the elimination comes, and then Brittany goes home first. Do you think she deserved to go home over Melissa S? Because Melissa S forgot the whole words to Crazy in Love, which is like, looking back at it, it was funny because she was trying to mumble it to make it seem like she knew it, but she didn't know the words. So do you think it was fair that Brittany went home, or?
That's funny. I never really thought of it that way. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I have, but
because it was Melissa and Brittany in the bottom.
Yeah, it's more just for what they're looking for at the end of the day. But Melissa probably got a wake up call.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
And like lose the words and like your whole.
And even with the edit, it was kind of, that's what I was saying. I think Melissa S got the worst edit because that week they showed her talking about Chelsea, like, oh, she's not that good of a dancer, blase, blase, blase. She's gonna ruin the performance. And she ended up doing the worst out of the three of them between her, Asia, and Melissa S. That's how editing is bad. Like, you have to be careful about like what you say about people, because they made sure to show that and then her doing that. So it made her look
And
like
I guess, I guess I already had that in my mind that they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like, never talk shit.
Right, because they could make you look really like crazy. So then the deliberation process. How long is it you guys stay back there for when they deliberate on who they're gonna send home? Like, is it like an hour? Like, how long do you think you guys were back there?
I don't remember, but I feel like it was a very long time. I remember it being a while. They took us out for like little interviews that like pop in and out throughout the show. But I remember it being a while. I think you can tell by our makeup.
Right.
Because they probably had to let HMU go so we can get touch-ups.
Right.
Like now just thinking back on it. That whole thing, I just forget. Isn't that weird? Like I just forget that whole memory.
It was a long time ago, so I don't blame you. It was very, very long time ago.
I remember being outside. I remember being in like a weird corridor where I was doing like an interview, or maybe that's when I was voted off. But it was the same place. So yeah. And then sitting in that dressing room for like hours.
Yeah. And the girls, like, you know, when you like go home, whatever, of course, they don't put you in contact with any of the girls that are still there. Like, you guys already pack your bags before the elimination. That way, when you guys go home, your bag's already away. Okay. Because that's how because on America's Next Top Model, a lot of people don't know, America's Next Top Model and your show, both seasons, Search for the Next Pussycat Dolls and Girlylicious, they have the same producer. So with America's Next Top Model, it shows them going to their house and packing up their bags and leaving. But you guys pre-packed your bags.
It was Michelle who asked. She was the casting director of that company. Amazing woman. Like she was like my mama. And yeah, we packed our bags every time. I left like 3 things they had to ship to me when I went home. But yeah, I don't know. It sucked having to pack our stuff because we would just throw it everywhere and then have to repack it again, like, you know, 2 days later.
That's crazy.
Maybe it was 4 days. How many days did we get? Was it 2 or 4? 2. 2 days.
So you guys got 2 days to pack up?
Learn a dance. No, learn a dance.
Oh.
Like 1 2 step, like that whole episode was 2 days.
Okay. Oh wow. No wonder she forgot the words.
I wonder why like I almost died.
And then a new episode,
but yeah.
A new episode starts, and then they show in the beginning Cicely is having sort of like a breakdown because of her feeling like she didn't fit the song that they gave to her. So they started to show like a story arc of her having like a breakdown. Was that in real life? Was that like apparent? Like, was she starting to like become over the experience, or was that just how it was shown on the edit?
She was shown on the edit properly in the fact that in the case that she was right, she was actually being a more advanced adult human looking back at it than anyone else was that was working for the production. Like, look at the stuff she's saying. We're not getting enough sleep. Our bodies are tired. Our voices are tired. How can we perform if we don't rest? Like, these are future things that, like, now, if you look at the pop stars we have nowadays, like, look at Shawn Mendes having to cancel. Like, I watched his documentary recently. Sorry. But he's like, he had to cancel. It like broke his heart to cancel, but his team felt it was best for him to rest. So you think of, just like, think of like time and era, like how we're now taking like rest and proper sleep into consideration and working in reality now. that was one of my biggest thing for cast members is always having enough sleep. So making sure I could fight for casts for that to happen. You know what I mean? I know I'm speaking out of context, so nobody knows what I'm talking about, but to me, I think Cicely had it right the entire time. It's just we thought she was crazy because we didn't understand that she was right. It's almost like we were a step behind her and she was a little bit more advanced than us. But I'm glad she was there to show it now.
Yeah.
To show that
she was adamant.
Like, fuck, you know, we needed to rest.
She was adamant on that from just the very beginning about her getting enough rest and making sure that she's good enough to be able to perform like correctly. And then after you guys are after they show like Cicely basically having like a breakdown through the edit, Robin announces that you guys are all getting makeovers. So since America's Next Top Model and you guys have the same producers, did you think you were gonna get like a crazy makeover to where they like cut off your hair, change your hair color, do something like extreme? And the makeover that you got, were you satisfied with it?
I was the happiest because I needed one. I like before I went there, I was like, oh, I need to do my hair, I need to do all this stuff. But I just like I didn't care about my appearance at the time. I know it's just poopy because the whole point is Pussycat dolls. But maybe I wasn't supposed to care about it because I got a makeover and I got like a $2,000 extension due. Those extensions, they did. Okay, that was my favorite day. So we go there and they don't even show any of this. This was like the Jaime day at that salon, I felt. And then I felt so bad for Marielle because she hated her hair. But they put like, it took 6 hours to put extensions in my hair. They did like the press-ons. 6 hours.
You said there were 2,000?
It was $2,000, like a $2,000 job because it was like really nice hair. So that they clipped in and I felt like a new woman. I was so happy. And then I saw like other girls crying and I was like, when you just feel ugly, it's like nothing works.
The thing is, they went easy on you guys, I think, because America's Next Top Model, they do some extreme, like, I think you do watch like probably a couple episodes of their makeovers are like extreme. They'll cut your hair, they'll dye it way differently than what you had. Like, that's what I was expecting, and then they kind of, I think, went a little easy on you guys.
Well, yeah, they I mean, for me, I'm clearly a blonde, so everybody like it's like, yeah, just do a platinum straight, like that's pretty, you know, it was popular at that time.
Right.
But Marielle, like, she didn't need to straighten her hair. I think they just needed a different look, you know? But they were really nice to us because they were like, what are you going to feel comfortable with? As far as, I don't know, with models, it's a little different because it's more what agents think that you should, I don't know. We didn't have to go through like that transformation because it's dancers and singers. So you have to still feel comfortable.
Right.
But models, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about now.
I get what you're saying. After the makeover, they show that you guys are taking out to eat with Little Kim and then the manager of the Pussycat Dolls.
Oh, we went to a club. We had drinks.
Right. And then basically the edit was weird. Like, they showed everybody laughing and having a good time, and you were just like, I need to be practicing. So was that like in real time, was that what was going on, or was it like an edit of you just looking like an outcast or something like that? Because that's how they edited it to be.
I know, and it wasn't. It was actually my most shining night.
Yeah.
And I remember once cameras went down, we were chilling there. We chilled there for a while, and I remember talking to Little Kim for a while. And I remember talking to the gentleman with the dark hair. He was really tall. Was he the owner of Geffen Records?
He was the manager of the Pussycat Dolls.
Where's Geffen coming from?
That's Ron.
No, Ron's Interscope.
Oh.
Where is he, Geffen? I don't know. I'm gonna have to
Oh,
look.
then I don't know.
I don't know why Geffen came into my head. Geffen Records. But yeah, he was really nice, and I remember little Kim being like really, really dope, and we hung out with her for a while.
Mhm.
And that's like when we kind of like all really gelled. But they don't. That's stuff that like, what would you want to see in that? You know, it's just like,
Yeah,
okay, they're talking to them, but
yeah.
what's more?
Did
Like,
it,
what do they need to show more of? You know.
right. Any of the girls, did they ever like not try to smooch up, but try to? Because the manager was there, so that would have been the perfect opportunity to like have a way in. So none of the girls tried to like put themselves out there more to like the manager, because it seemed like they were all talking to Little Kim.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Mhm.
I only
Afterwards,
I forgot about that entire thing until I watched the episode.
oh wow! Before this
That's how
interview and me contacting you, you never went back and watched it ever. That's crazy.
I never went back and watched it. I also was the first time watching it sober.
Mhm.
Like the first time it came out, I was like a bottle of wine by myself in a corner, like crying. The second episode, the first episode, we had a huge party, but I was very, very insecure. I hated watching myself. I knew already what I was about to see in a sense. So now it's fun.
Mhm.
Now it's like it's an accomplishment. It's like I did
Right.
that. Like that's hard to do, to put yourself on TV, dude. It's hard.
Yeah.
And I
And
knew it
I
was gonna
hear
be
that from a
hard.
lot of people that have been on TV, that watching themselves back is like, it's traumatizing because you're watching yourself like, so you see every flaw.
Every flaw, every
Yeah.
angle, you know what I mean? Like every way that you never saw yourself, or like the things that you say that you forget that you say. And it's almost like I feel so bad for like the little me.
Hmm.
I just want to like hug her.
Yeah.
And I guess I thank the production company and judges and the editors for not, showing me in a light where I actually had to hide myself like other people,
Hmm.
of shame or of something I couldn't accept. At least this, I already knew what I was accepting, and I needed to accept myself. That was the only thing I needed. So I didn't
Hmm.
need anybody else's approval for what I said. You know what I mean?
Right. And then the Heartbreaker performance, you guys perform it. This is more like Cicely's genre or whatever. So do you think that at that point you deserve to go home? Because that week it seemed like the way the edit was going that Cicely was going to go home, because this was her song that she wanted to perform, and she blew it at the end of the day. So do you think that she deserved to go home over you, or do you think you deserve to stay?
I was, I don't think any of us knew. And we were both on the stage. We had no idea. And I was like, it could be either one of us. I was ready to go. I think I was ready to go, but I was shocked as well. So I think she deserved to stay only because she wanted it more.
Hmm.
So they're like, that's where the pull comes from. It's like, I mean, did she go home the next week?
Yes.
Yeah. So who wants
He would
it
have
more?
lasted a week longer.
You know what I
One
mean?
more
Like,
time.
who wants it more? Oh, you want to stay another week? Go ahead, girl. I'm done.
Right. And then after you're eliminated, do they keep you guys? Because certain shows, they'll keep everybody at a hotel until the whole show is done, and then let all of you guys go home for real, for real. Is that true? Because a lot of competition shows, they said they're going home. They're just going to a hotel waiting for the show to be done and then go home. So what was it for you?
They, I was so excited. I got my
Mhm.
phone, and then they were like, okay, we can take you to an airport. We just have to physically like see you at the airport. And then, like I said, my boyfriend at the time was in LA. So he just picked me up from the airport and never flew anywhere. And I just stayed there. I stayed in LA for a little bit.
Okay, so you're
Um,
allowed to go home. That's
yeah.
good.
For that show, we were allowed to go home. For a lot of other shows, depending on their, I guess, favoritism at the time of era.
Mm-hmm.
Determine that.
Right.
Survivor or Big Brother. It depends on the show.
With
and
Big Brother, it's
stars,
different.
you know what I mean?
Because if you're the first 5 people that are eliminated, you get to go home. After that, you have to stay. There's something called a jury house. They make you stay in the house. Like, you can't go home until the whole show is done. So if you go on that show, which I'm gonna audition, you have to you have the potential of staying there for 3 months, whether you win or not.
I know. I used to have to take care of those people.
Isn't that crazy?
So, just so everyone knows, like, for your viewers, because I know that you know, but after I left, or after the Pussycat Dolls, like, basically what my career has been, I've been talent managing for reality television shows. So kind of before I got into the judging part of taking care of like the celebrities, it's managing casts like me on TV shows and making sure that they're handled, you know, and not dying of homesickness and depression.
Right. Now I'm going to get into some speed questions, and then I'm going to ask you to what you're up to now and what you've done now, because I'm really interested in what you've done, like production-wise and stuff like that. So I'm going to ask you that later on. So these speed round questions, just just tell me what you want to say. It doesn't have to be long if you don't feel like it. It could be like a one-word response.
I know,
so
I'm really
it's
bad
very
at
fast.
I talk too much. Okay, go.
No, you're fine. All right. These are from stuff that I seen that was asked on the YouTube episodes, questions that people were wondering about, and then just some of the questions I was wondering about. Was Asia as much of a diva as portrayed on the show in real time?
No. Queen.
Queen?
One of my best friends.
Yeah.
Yes. She's amazing.
Right.
Big heart.
What challenges in the future episodes, if you did watch them, that you saw that you wish you got to do, like whether it be like when they went to Vegas and performed, whether it be when they performed on stage with the Pussycat Dolls, like what did you wish you were around for it so that you can do?
At the time, it was the Vegas, because I had never been, but that was at the time, not now.
Right, because you've probably been to Vegas now.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I didn't need to do that then.
Yeah.
But she didn't know.
Mm-hmm. How long was the filming during the show?
For me, it was like a month and a half.
Month and a half. For all the other girls, it was what, 2 months? 2 months.
Maybe a little longer, like 2 months and change. Man, mine was like a month and change. So theirs was probably like 2. Yeah, because once I left, it went faster. You know what I mean? Like once we started in the house, the production went. But quicker. It was just leading up to like the 50 and like all that. That took a while. Mm-hmm. So they were probably there for 2 months.
Were you guys paid during the course of the show, like giving a stipend or anything?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
Well, I don't remember. We could have been. So I don't want to the company down. But she doesn't remember.
They're like, hey, we gave you $500.
It was like, what, 16 years ago?
Yeah.
Almost 20 years. Like, that's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go. What's your favorite Pussycat Dolls song?
I love I Don't Need a Man. Mm-hmm. And why am I blanking on this? With the boobs? Oh.
Buttons?
All your hustlers.
Oh, When I Grow Up.
Yeah. When I Grow Up. Oh, that song is hot.
Yeah. Listen, people don't understand how, like, the Pussycat Dolls were hot back then. Like, they would put all the girl groups to shame. Even though Nicole was, like, the only one really singing, like, even still, the band was just, it was the shit. Like, it was the shit.
I mean,
you can tell them anything.
They're so good. It's just because, like, their dance background was so strong. Like, Kim was my favorite. Mm-hmm. That that girl. Anyway,
And then, do you regret ever doing, like, not doing the show? Because Asia, of course, she didn't end up staying with the group afterwards. Do you still do you still agree that you were happy to do the show, or do you regret doing it because you saw that Asia didn't stay afterwards?
oh no, I love that I did it. I think it was a big decision. I remember a lot of people in my life helped me make the decision of going or not. Tony Busker, hey girl, I know that you were in on it. So I thank her for that, who was a model a girlfriend of mine who was like a big model at the time, helped me make that decision to go. And she was like, you'll never regret it. Just do it because it'll change your life. And at the end of the day, like, maybe it'll just help you for your future. Right. And I don't really think that it helped me for my future, because I'm not like an entertainer, but I think it helped me within myself.
Who was your favorite judge on the show?
All of them. I respect all of them in different ways. Robin's mom, Ron Fair, is like, as soon as they said Ron Fair, because I didn't know we were going to have him, I had known who he was since I was little. So I was like obsessed with Christina, you know, so that just knowing, understanding the record industry for me, that was pretty big to have Ron Fair. And Little Kim, I mean, duh. Right. She was amazing in person. So, and Ron Fair was amazing in person. Like, they didn't show you any of his personality at all. Like, we spoke a lot. I think there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that my memory even slips, that I wish that people were able to see, that shined us so much more. Like, I was more of an outgoing person than I was shown, which led me there, which you're seeing right now just by talking to me. Like, I'm very, I speak. Like, I just couldn't find it. It was like I was hiccuping and I couldn't stop.
Right. And the thing is, a lot of the viewers, they don't realize you guys were like young as hell at that time. 19. Some of you guys are 18, 19.
Who knows himself at 19?
Like, I didn't realize Asia was 18 until I went back and watched it before I contacted you to do this. Because I was like, she's 18. Like, at the time when I was little, I would see that, but it didn't sink in my mind. I'm thinking, oh, she's in her 20s. And then I'm looking at, she's 18. Like, that's crazy. So the thing is, these girls were young. So it took a lot of guts for them to do it.
Yes. I cannot believe how young we are when I watch it. It's like watching children dance naked.
Mm-hmm.
But the Pussycat dolls look like women. We look like children. So it's an interesting perspective.
Right.
Watch now.
After the show airs and everything, and then it premieres, how is it being recognized? Like, after, like, everybody noticing you, like, in public? Because the advertisement for the show was huge. You guys were on billboards, you guys were on buses, from what I remember, television commercials, everything. So how is it being recognized, like, after the show?
It was awesome. We had a beautiful billboard in Times Square on 42nd and 7th Avenue. And I remember that being on a bucket list of mine when I was little. And so that was really cool. Walking down the street, got crazy once the show aired. Even like walking in Times Square, like during work and stuff, like I would be chased. I would go to the bank and the bank tellers would go crazy at restaurants. It was like a taste of fame, and glad I only had a taste of it, because I think during that time it was kind of, if you did get wrapped up into fame, it got pretty tormenting. Like, that was when Britney was like shaving her head and throwing
with the umbrella
cars. So, you know, hey girl, that's our time.
Yeah. Did Robin ever give you guys opportunities outside of the show, like the girls that were eliminated? Like, did she ever try to groom you guys as artists outside of the show? Did you ever see any of the judges or anybody outside of the show?
Robin was a very, very good, almost felt like family friend after the show. She and Eric, actually, Eric Dawson,
Mhm.
who I just remember them being family. And I'm so sad that it's been so many years, and I apologize for not having like as much memory as I have been feeling. But I just remember them being really close to me, coming to New York, visiting, having a really nice dinner at this really dope Italian restaurant. And then I remember Robin coming to New York, inviting me to lunch with Cameron Diaz, which was nuts. And it was just me, her, and Cameron.
Oh wow.
I remember for season 2 for Girlicious, Asia and I went to be like judges for the girls in New York at the New York auditions. So we got to like sit behind the table and we got to answer questions and do a Q&A for the girls that were auditioning, which I thought was really cool.
Oh wow. See, that wasn't shown on the show at all.
Well, yeah, it was after. It was kind of like where we've grown. That show definitely gave me a boost in womanism. Like I think I was meant to meet Robin in a way that she was supposed to be there for that moment in my life where it's like, go, like be a
Right.
woman, be sexy, like embody yourself, like know that you have hair, know that you have like sexiness, know that you have a voice. I needed to like own myself. And what she did for me was take that little timid Jamie, do a makeover, then do another makeover when it comes through with press once everything's coming out, and then show her off in order for her to like feel worthy. So once I was able to feel worthy and she took us everywhere, she took us to clubs in LA, like Robin like held our hands through that. And that is something that I'll never forget. She was a true mama egg, like a true like mother goose of
Right.
all the hens, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love Robin. And then after
Yeah.
the show, Asia ended up not staying with PCD. Do you know by any chance what happened with that? Because a lot of fans were wondering why didn't she stay with the show. A lot of rumors were that she wanted to be with her child at the time and couldn't deal with the scheduling difficulties with being in the band. Do you know by any chance what happened or no?
That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
No, I believe it was just the band. I believe that it was a publicity stunt for just promoting PCD, losing a member. Maybe somebody was to work out. I believe the girls never wanted anybody in it anyway. It was just all promotion.
Yeah. I can
Um,
see that as
I'm
well.
okay with that. I mean, Asia was okay with that. Asia and I were very, very close during and after the show. Did it hurt her feelings? I think that it did, for people to think that it was because of her daughter is sad.
Yeah.
Um,
Because why would the thing is when I would read that in comments, I'm like, why would she go on the show knowing that she has a child and
so
make the show and then quit because she had a child? That doesn't make any sense. So once I would read that, I'm like, that it had to
that's just
something else had
that's
to happen.
that's silly for
Yeah,
people to think that. One, it just makes no sense.
right.
No, it was not her. She's very talented. I just think it was the time.
Hmm. Was there anything that happened on the show that wasn't shown that you wish was shown? Like any like different challenges, um anything that dances or anything like that, performances, anything that wasn't shown that you wish was shown?
That one performance where I sang "Killing Me Softly."
Hmm.
Find that in the vaults. Um, the chocolate fight on Halloween, which they would never show. Me making breakfast, which I did a lot, and I
Hmm.
don't cook, so that's weird. Um, maybe me trying to reach out to my family because nobody answered. I reached out to like 20 people to answer the phone because everyone else talked to their family, like
Hmm.
on like that phone. So
Right.
every time we called somebody, you have to say like, well, there's a thing. It says like you're being recorded.
Right. for a
like
television
FTP real
show.
world shit. Yeah. And I mean, no one answered. So
Mhm.
it was just me alone. Every time I
Right.
would call, it was just ring, ring. And they're shooting me. Like that would have been funny. And I
Yeah.
started crying to the girls. I was like, no one's answering the phone. Like, I haven't talked to anyone. Everyone's dead. That's
Right.
what I thought it was. Everybody's dying.
All right. So now after the show, you told me personally you're in production now. So tell the viewers and stuff what you've been up to now and how working in production and working in the field behind the scenes is and what it showed you about like reality TV and everything.
Yeah. So after I ended up, continuing working in television, I realized that my niche was more working with talent that is on camera and understanding their needs for what goes in for them to be able to perform and get what they want to say out.
Mhm.
Um, I think that I'm really good at my job for that reason. Sorry, my cat's crying for no. What are you crying about? So yeah, I've worked on a lot of shows that I started after Pussycat Dolls, Celebrity Apprentice
Mhm.
for 8 seasons with Mr. Trump. Actually, and and Mark McGrath, who was the host of my show, was on my cast.
Right.
It's pretty wild to have him. So it's almost like I put myself in another realm.
Mhm.
And then I got to like really, really get the view of what we're doing here when it comes to television and reality and what we show and what we don't. And it really makes me sad to see how some edits come out later down the road, even with celebrities that I've worked with over the years and have become so close with, and to see them portrayed so negatively is
You're talking about like on The Apprentice, right?
I mean, just I've worked on
In
like
general. Right. Because you guys don't know,
God,
Jamie is
from like I'm
that girl.
35, like 15 years. I've worked with a lot of people.
Right.
I worked with
Jamie
them
is
all.
that girl. I'm telling you. A
I
lot of
worked
the
with
girls
them
that were on the
all.
show haven't done what she has.
Like she worked with them all.
Right.
It's like I've seen the ugly, I've seen the good, I've seen the best, and I've witnessed the ones that have passed, like Joan Rivers. Like I worked very closely with her. That broke my heart. Like there's people in this industry that just change you and really show you. And I think the Pussycat Dolls was the beginning of me. And what I've gone through in my personal journey that is not involved being in front of the camera, in front of a lens,
Mhm.
is something that I would never ever take back to put in front of a lens. I'm so
Right.
happy that I was not able to become famous, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All thought that we were striving to be the best, to be the one in the spotlight, to be famous. But at the end of the day, when you have that, you have no person anymore, because you have no privacy. You have no, let me just call my girlfriend and go for like a coffee down the street. Like that doesn't exist to just stroll down the street anymore at that time.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that I was able to find myself without spotlight. And
Mhm.
watching the Pussycat Dolls going back, it's like we're all saying in the interviews, this is our dream. This is what we've been striving for. But why? Our
Mhm.
dream isn't to be famous. We think that's what we want, but it's not what we want, because that can really destroy you. And I'm very thankful that I was able to get a taste of it and walk away,
Right.
and then able to still keep myself in it, in entertainment, but not lose myself.
Right. Like I think that's like the coolest thing. The shows that she's worked on, guys, are like shows that you see on TV. So Jamie's that girl.
And here's that man.
Right.
It's just all about being like true to like
Yeah.
this conversation is just like, I don't know, just talking to you, it makes me feel more comfortable,
Mhm.
not making it so we're always so like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And it makes the person feel like they're a robot,
Right.
and we're now getting to that fluid, like dancer, singer, interview, entertainment vibes where we're all just gelling. and we're
Right.
not like as trying to be.
Hmm.
It's hard to explain, but I think they'll get it.
And ending it off, what has reality TV taught you? Like, what do you want the viewers and myself or anyone to take from watching the show and knowing and seeing how you were edited or seeing how the other girls were edited? What do you want them to take away from the show that will help them further if they want to go into the entertainment industry, if they want to end up on television? What do you want them to know?
I think that reality TV, from when it was like created back real world
Hmm.
era, like 90s to now,
Right.
it's always remember that that's one perspective that's made up within multiple other perspectives of reality. So finding, especially working in reality, it's really interesting because you have multiple layers of reality within reality. You have a camera, which is shooting one story of something that we know is happening, but it's within a story that someone else is creating so that you can understand it. So just always remember that there's multiple different levels of perspectives and realities before anybody can judge.
Hmm.
You can't judge what you don't know, right? You
Right.
can't judge what you can't touch. You can't judge what you can't see. Like everything is. So then, what makes it okay for us to judge somebody else's reality that is cut through edit through
Hmm.
multiple other eyes? That's not your own.
Right.
So to me, it's important that people that watch reality television always have that mindset of knowing that there's multiple perspectives that are cut together to make this true. Though some do show their true colors, which just make them who they are. Like you can't cut up somebody that's just pure evil. You can't cut up somebody that's pure light. They're just going to either shine or they're going to be ugly.
Right.
So keeping that in mind. And what was that other thing you said?
What do you want them watching the show to take with them?
Uh, um, one that entertainers need rest, so you can't overwork.
Right.
Clearly, I don't have a memory, so that's not good. Um, Confidence is within. That's
Hmm.
something I learned, I would say, within the past 4 years. So it took me even another, it took me like 10, it took me 15 years to really get to where I am now
Hmm.
from that. Did that help or delay me? I don't know.
Hmm.
So that's the scary part. So I just think, I don't know. Take whatever you want from it. It's just a completely different time.
Right. And where can the viewers find you now, and what projects do you have coming up? Because you're a busy girl, so let them know. Social media, where can they find you?
Well, social media on Instagram, I'm at Benjamin86, and
Hmm.
I work in the entertainment industry in reality on different shows that you guys watch.
Right.
Um, yes.
Check the credits.
And I've been with, what is the last two shows? I'm with Project Runway, season 17 and 18. I work with Miss Carly Kloss, Christian Siriano, the amazing Brandon Maxwell, Elaine Welteroth. We have multiple guest judges on our shows. With COVID, we were supposed to shoot last season. I don't know, what's happening with the world, so I can't really tell anybody what's going on right now.
Hmm.
But musically, I have a studio with a friend of mine that's down the street from where I'm currently living in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg. And we are featuring a bunch of just bringing in a bunch of different musical artists and also clothing designers and people that are interested in making art into this studio and combining just true artistry, music, fashion, art. and bringing everybody together and just kind of making a home space for kids to get off the street and just make music and feel like they have a space. To me, that's more important. And like the flame and the fire of the music comes out that way, and also in the fashion. And it's been really a great thing to watch a lot of my friends grow within the industry and also within their artistry. So I think my future right now is in the hands of the future. I mean, I don't really know. We all are in the same place because we don't know where the world's going. And that's what's great about making our own dreams come true and creating our new platform for like where we're going to go within media and where we want to speak as humans and as our own races and as a community of who we want to be and how we want to set reality television, and what watching our shows, like you watching at your age, watching my show and us being able to connect is important for me. It really is, because it shows like how I've grown as a human, but also like that you still can relate to me, but you even want to know who I am. Do you know like how honoring that is?
Yeah.
It's really humbling. So thank you.
No, thank
For
you.
even
Like,
wanting
I'm
to
telling
give
you,
me
she was
like,
one of the only ones that agreed to it. So like, I can't thank you enough, because you're letting the viewers know like what really happened and giving us an update on what you're up to now. So I want to thank you so much. I'm gonna leave all of her information in my bio, so that way you guys will be able to reach out and just basically give your love to her. So yeah, and see what she's up to. All right, thank you again, and then catch you later.